Hello, everybody. How are you? So, bear with me for just a split second. I am sharing everything to Facebook. Uh, okay. So, how is everybody today? So, um, I went on a little hunt because I totally forgot that Nicole Furzy had a trial. Back in November on the 21st. And according to what I could find on the Allegheny County website, is that Nicole Verzi had a status hearing then and has another one scheduled for tomorrow. Give me 1 second because I did not think about this beforehand. And I forgot to share my documents. So give me 1 second. Oh, damn it. That was not what I wanted. I swear, today is my first day owning a channel. We're gonna pretend that that's the thing. We are going to pretend that this is my very first ever day owning a channel. All right, perfect. Let me pull them up on my screen real fast. I'll leave that up and I'll pull them up over here. I swear, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Oh, damn it. Did I add it to the wrong one? I did. I did. I'm an idiot. Hold on. Loki, go play. I'm an idiot. I put it on the wrong Google account, but that's okay. Loki, go lay down, sir. No, your sister's gonna get you. She don't want to play. Alright. Now that I have it pulled up, let me separate it from everything else that I have. And then I will do a screen share once I have it pulled up. Okay, so I just want to take one quick moment to cover with you guys what is currently going on in the Nicole Verzi case. And this will be good for anybody who who may be looking for more information on Nicole Verzi. So give me 1 second so that I can add this document. Perfect. All right, I'm so excited. Um, I'm going to transition to this, and then I am going to specifically look at the document itself. Let me grab real quick a cough drop so that I'm not coughing on you the entire time. Ah, bear! All right. I apologize. I have had this stupid, terrible cold because the weather up here in Pennsylvania is so ridiculous. It's not even funny. My weather doesn't know if it's supposed to be hot or cold or what the hell it's doing. Um, so yes. And I know a lot of people feel that way, especially now, with climate change and all of that going on. Loki, go get your toy. All right. So as you can see, this is from the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. It's the court summary. Um, so this kind of lets you know, like, some of what's going on in the trial. It lets you know her charges, um, and all of that. So we'll go over this real fast. Of course, this is the case against Nicole Elizabeth Verzi. Um, it shows that she was arrested on June 16th, 2024. Her attorney, Tina Miller, last actions was her status hearing on 11/21/2024. The next action is the status hearing. Loki, sorry, the dog's being a pain. Is her status hearing tomorrow. She is charged right now with criminal homicide, endangering the welfare of children, being a parent, guardian, or other that has committed the offense. And the reason for that is because she was alone with the child she was babysitting. Count 3 is aggravated assault, attempts to cause serious bodily injury, or causes injury with extreme indifference. You also have aggravated assault for a victim less than 13 and the defendant is 18 or older. Aggravated assault, the victim is less than 6 and the defendant is 18 or older. And endangering the welfare of children as a parent, guardian, or other that has committed the offense. So there is that. And then we have her court docket sheet. And again, this is just going over what she's already gone through, and what we are expected to see as far as the trials. Now, the last one that I had gotten, I want to say back in like August or September, but as you can see right here, it specifically says that the jury trial was scheduled for it to start today, but that it was continued at the last status hearing. So Nicole Elizabeth Verzi is now currently slated for April 14th of 2025 to start her jury trial. So this means that as long as everything goes in my favor, I will be able to be at that trial for you guys in April, and I'm really hoping to be able to be there live. I would really like to give you guys a first-hand experience on this, just because it is so close to me. I'm hoping that it doesn't get rescheduled at that time, but we'll see. There is a chance that between the status hearing tomorrow and the status hearing in January, that it could again be postponed for any particular reason. But I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys see that for a second. I haven't really gotten anything else as far as documentation on this goes. At least not yet. Fingers crossed that I will be able to here soon. I am also waiting to hear back as to how much it's going to cost me. So yes. I will be starting up a Patreon and taking Patreon memberships, just to help go towards the cost of docs and eventual phone calls and things like that that I would like to do. Everything that would get put into the Patreon via memberships will go directly towards getting you guys documents, evidence, photographs, things like that, for things like it would be awesome to see the evidence photos from inside the Farris household. I should be able to get those. Now, I specifically put in all of my FOIA requests. Sorry, this cold. But I specifically put in all of my FOIA requests that I do not want any of the autopsy photos. I do know that there have been people in past cases who have managed to get autopsy photos and release those. I personally do not feel okay with releasing autopsy photos. But that's just my personal preference. Yes. So that is where we stand right now with all of that. And so anytime I do get evidence photographs, it will 100% be you know, of the area around, and no victims or anything like that. Um, so yes, just so you guys are aware as to like what those expectations are. Now, I did jump back a little bit on day 4. So we are going to see a little bit of familiar testimony. It's only like a couple of minutes, so I figured we'll be all right to get a brief recap of where we left off and then go straight into the rest of Chris's testimony. I'm hoping to get through the rest of Chris's defense testimony tonight, so we'll see. We'll see how far we get.
That drawer right there.
Yes.
That he found it. Now, again, going back to and the statement you said earlier, and I'm going to ask you the question. And the jury can hear the answer. But Grandma loves those grandchildren. How ridiculous is it that Grandma would leave a gun in open access for children to have access to?
Well, I sure wouldn't do it.
But your mom wouldn't either.
I don't know that.
You know her.
I'm her firstborn son. I know her.
Did you ever hear the story of the year before when she made sure that when Scott had surreptitiously left the .32 in the barn, that she made sure it was moved up high so that those kids could never touch that gun in a barn?
I never heard that story.
And this, just because you're more familiar with the basement and the basement arrangement, These candles, like, is this glass holding up these candles?
It appears to be glass. I mean, you can see through it. I doubt they're plastic.
And that's a glass table?
It is, sir.
And this is fine leather furniture?
I'm sure
And
it
your
is.
mother had the finest furnishings?
She had.
HoneyBook keeps your proposals, contracts, invoices, and payments all in one place. My name is Laura Gomez, and I've partnered with over 100 brands. So trust me when I'm saying that this tool will save you time. It's called HoneyBook, and whether you're just starting to work with clients or have years of experience, you'll be surprised by everything this tool can do because it makes managing clients 10 times easier. You spend less time on admin tasks and give your clients a great experience. No more back and forth in emails, no more countless hours spent Googling how to create a contract, and most importantly, no more tracking who's paid and who hasn't. Growing and scaling a business isn't about finding more and more new clients, but rather landing the right clients and making sure they have the best experience so they keep coming back. Start your free trial today at honeybook.com and grow your dream business.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small businesses easily reach thousands of customers.
And this, just because you're more familiar with the basement and the basement arrangement, these candles, like, is this glass holding up these candles?
It appears to be glass. I mean, you can see through it. I doubt they're plastic.
And that's a glass table?
It is, sir.
And this is fine leather furniture?
I'm
And
sure
your
it is.
mother had the finest furnishings?
She had very good taste.
And when you were down there, nothing seemed out of place.
It didn't.
Nothing was broken.
Give me 1 second. The dog stepped on the computer.
Before. Like, I'd almost have to tell my mom, hey, back off. Like, I want to spend some time with my kids. Like,
Because they
and
were
that's
always-
that's no, I remember him saying that. This is after what we discovered in the burn pile, and
It's shocking,
I
isn't
don't
it?
really know the context of it, how that happened.
Did you know your brother had a drawer full of 38 special bullets?
Yeah, he told me
Yeah. And he had,
after this all happened.
like, how long after?
I did, but I don't remember exactly.
So let's talk about Scott.
Okay.
We're almost done. We're getting close to lunch. I know the jury's getting hungry, and so am I. So are you. You would agree that's absurd.
Alright. I am not entirely sure exactly where we were, so we will just restart here. It's an extra couple minutes. I apologize for that. I cannot believe that Loki sat on my computer. He's over here doing a pain because he wants attention. So while we're watching this, I think I'm gonna play some toy with him.
I don't agree with that. No. I don't know where she shot my dad. I don't know if she shot my dad.
You don't know it. You don't know if.
Yeah,
You don't
I
know.
didn't see anybody do anything to anybody.
But you were the first man on the scene there, one of the first.
Yeah,
Nothing out of place.
nothing was out of place, sir.
Same view in the basement, because that's also where the state is maybe contending where she shot your dad. Nothing out of place.
Right. I wasn't looking for bullets. I was looking for my dad's wallet. I was looking for my father.
Okay. Did your ex-wife, when did y'all get a divorce, Jenna?
Divorce was final in December of 2021.
Okay. And are you aware that she did an interview back in 2018, and she ended that phone call very oddly with, "I'm done talking. Can I be done now?" Did you ever know that? Were you in the room when she was talking to Kuykendall?
Nope.
Okay. And she never brought up any time ever seeing a gun. Did you find out later that all of a sudden she made up like she saw a gun? Or do you know that at all?
No.
Okay. But again, when you went downstairs, nothing out of place. You went to his room.
I did.
CPAP machine was there. Did you check that?
I didn't check it. Like I didn't register in my mind to see if the CPAP was there. At that time, no.
So, I'm going to ask you this. So you guys start then combing out across the property. You said you went out to the barn. Did you notice anything in the barn out of place?
No, sir.
Did you smell any cleaning chemicals in the barn?
No, sir.
Did you ever see the tractor?
No, sir.
There are a certain number of family members that know where the tractor normally is and things like that, but you wouldn't have been that guy. You didn't know that.
No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
I didn't know how to drive tractor.
Right. Did you look through the barn? Did you go up to Scott's apartment?
I don't remember if I would assume I did, but I don't remember exactly.
So let's talk about Scott.
Okay.
We're almost done. We're getting close to lunch. I know the jury's getting hungry, and so am I. So are you. Scott was in the military.
Yes, sir.
What was his duties in the military?
He was infantry. I know he drove a Bradley, which is a armored vehicle.
Okay. Do you know any details about his service?
No. I mean, I know, I don't know the name of the town in Iraq where he was stationed, but I remember, him kind of telling me about it. I mean, he would call me from over there and say, check in, briefly. But I probably can't give you the most details about his exact service, like day-to-day type thing.
Did he ever mention, because he mentioned to 911 and the number of law enforcement in this case that he knew what a burned body looked like? Did he ever mention any stories, any situations in Iraq?
No. I never asked.
And that's not unusual for vets.
Yeah.
But he's mentioned it, and so that's why I was asking you, since you guys are much closer.
Yeah. No, I never asked him, and I didn't want to ask him about that. I just kind of, if he wanted to tell me anything like that, that'd be fine, but no, we never talked about that.
But your brother, being in infantry division, was obviously well trained in firearms.
Oh, yeah.
And had a number of firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you this. Did you ever know of your brother having a revolver?
No.
All right. Did you ever know of your brother having a .357 stolen from him while he was living in Columbus?
I know his apartment in Columbus got broken into, but I don't know what was stolen.
What proof of that do you have?
Because I remember I went with my mom down there, and there was something, he told me about it. That's all.
He told you about it?
He told me about it.
That's it?
That's it.
Did you know that Scott was married?
Well, I found that out eventually.
So he hid that from the family?
He hid it from me, I know.
So when did you find out that Scott got married while he was in the military?
Sunday, what is that, 8th? I can't see that
Sunday,
far.
I'll help you. My eyes are about the same way.
Yeah, let's say I can see a little bit. Sunday to 8th.
So that Sunday, July the 8th, 2018, you
Yeah.
found that your brother had been married
Yeah.
and divorced. We
Yeah.
believe. I don't know for sure. For the first time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there were some things you didn't know about your brother,
Sure.
right? And did you know that almost for your brother to do anything on that farm, he had to ask?
Does your editing workflow look like this? Try Lucid Link.
Your dad for the debit card. Every time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know every time, but
Would it shock you if I showed you text message after text message?
it wouldn't shock me that if he needed a debit card, but I don't know if he had a card that did, like an account for the farm. I don't know. I mean, that was never discussed with me.
Would it shock you that your brother, Scott, so it was his trail cam out there. Did you ever go see the trail cam?
No.
When you guys were walking the property, would it shock you that the last picture before the input that says delete is your brother Scott walking away from that trail cam? Would that shock you?
No. I mean, why would it shock me?
It wouldn't shock you that your brother deleted the trail cam the day you were looking for your father?
Okay, so I am going to pause there for brevity. How in the world can you sit here and say that Scott does not look suspicious if he deleted the trail cam the day that they were searching for Gary? I could have swore that the trail cams weren't working, so I apologize for that. They were. It was that they had deleted the video. So tell me, like, how do you sit here and say that Scott is not guilty?
I mean, I don't know when that happened. If it was before, I don't.
No,
really know.
I'm talking right about 1 o'clock when you guys have called 911.
Right.
That he thinks to go to the trail cam and hit delete.
Yeah, I don't.
That's shocking, isn't
I don't
it?
really know the context of it, how that happened.
Did you know your brother had a drawer full of 38 special bullets?
Yeah, he told me
Yeah. And he had,
after this all happened.
like, how long after?
It was a while after. It was like a year, and we were just talking about things. And he said, "Yeah, I had some 38 caliber ammunition. It was some of it, it was kind of like a junk drawer." And my friends, one of my friends, because his buddies would come over and shoot at the farm, and they would bring their guns and.
How convenient that his buddies would bring him ammo and they would just all shoot at the farm. And he just magically happened to have 38 special ammunition. And there was also a gun at the Farrises that only Scott and Jenna saw. And Jenna doesn't even bring it up until 6 years later. So what's that tell you? She brought it up directly before trial. This whole mess is suspicious. I fully believe that Chris knows more than he is telling. He may not have been there. Who knows? He may have been there. But I totally and completely feel like Chris knows more than he is saying. I fully believe that Scott was involved, and I believe that neither one of them are speaking now because mom's already taken the fall. And if Melody was involved, I couldn't tell you. There's not enough evidence one way or the other to prove that she was involved. But there is a lot. And don't get me wrong, it's all circumstantial evidence, so its only weight is what you give it. But I fully believe that there is mounting evidence throughout this trial that proves that Scott had means, had motive, and had opportunity. I feel like this also shows that Melody had means, motive, and opportunity, and that Chris had means, motive, and opportunity. So honestly, I feel it could be any one of the three or all three. I also feel like it could just be the two boys. There's a lot of different realms that these answers could jump into, but those are the most common, with where the evidence throughout this trial leads. But it is glaring evidence, like deleting trial cam. Oh, deleting trail cam footage. And the only thing being left is 1 o'clock that day while they were searching. Like, what? How Melody did not get off from a lot of this is beyond me, because that alone has, to me, reasonable doubt that you cannot easily explain away. But that's just me.
He's like, yeah, that's where that ammunition came from.
The tactical shooting. Did you ever see him do any drills of tactical shooting? Like on Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Well, I noticed he would kind of, I mean, he was, how would you say, his form was, he'd be like kind of walking, things like that. So at tactical shooting, I remember seeing a video of him.
You've seen him do it? Yeah. He's pretty good at it, you'd say.
Yeah, Scott's always, we used to go hunting and stuff. He's always been a good shot.
In the multiple interviews that you had in this case, I mean, there's things, Chris, I got to tell you, you're a pretty smart guy. You are. And you could see you along the way. You could see you along the way questioning even things that even the police weren't questioning. They asked you, how could your mother have moved your dad? And you just, I don't know. I don't think there's any way. Someone must have helped her. Mm-hmm. That's what you said. Do you remember saying that?
Oh. I don't remember saying that, but I don't think it's unreasonable that I might have said that.
Okay. Well, and I'm not going to convince you. I'm not trying to convince you of this. It's this jury right here that I'm mostly concerned about.
Sure, I understand.
But let's just legitimately talk about this. Your dad was how big?
I mean, he's bigger.
Because you're tall, but you're skinny.
I mean, I'm skinny. That's like a crazy here, but
how much
my dad was a big man.
How much do you weigh?
Right now, I weigh 245 pounds.
All right, how much did you weigh in 2018?
Probably probably about the same. Maybe 235, maybe, I fluctuate between 230, 245, 250.
Let's talk about your brother. He's bigger than you, right?
He's taller than me.
Yeah? How much does he weigh?
I don't know. I bet, probably, I don't know. I've never talked to him about how much he
Y'all
weighs.
are all big. Y'all are big dudes.
Right.
Okay. So, but he's probably, if he's taller than you, it's reasonable to say he's between 250 and 300 pounds.
Sure.
Okay. And your dad was about how tall and how much did he weigh?
I would say anywhere, he's my height, around 6'4", and he probably weighed, anywhere from 280 to 300 pounds, I would say.
On the heavier side, wouldn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear all of those heights and weights? I know next he's going to focus on Melody. But I want to emphasize that Chris himself is admittedly 6'4", between 230 and 250 pounds. Scott Farris is taller than his brother, so let's say even an inch taller, 6'5". And they said between 280 and 300. Now I understand that that's a guess, so it could be more or less. But still, either way, he's a big dude. And then not to mention Gary Farris, who was 6'4", and also roughly 280 to 300 pounds. Come on. Have you guys seen who's sitting at the defense table? She is 5'3", and if I remember correctly, they said about 125 pounds. I am 5'0", and I'm like 160 pounds currently, and I'm petite, and I still would not be able to kill somebody and move their body at 6 foot or above. Like, no, I wouldn't be able to do it. And yes, I totally and completely understand that Melody works on a farm, and my fluffy, plushy butt hasn't seen farm equipment since my teenage years. Okay, I totally get it. But even at that, like, she would really have to be lifting heavy farm equipment on a regular basis to be able to lift the weight that she's going to need to be able to lift. She's going to need to be able to lift well over 100 pounds at that rate because of how big Gary was. Just to be able to move his body, even the upper half, and letting the lower half drag. And when they say that something is dead weight, there is a reason for that. Because have you ever picked up a 10-pound sack of potatoes versus your 10-pound kid? Like, I know I have. My kid has almost always been 10 pounds less than the heavy potatoes. Like, it has a difference. It is very, very different. Even the difference between carrying your awake child and carrying your asleep child. While still not a very accurate comparison, it is very similar. It's a different kind of weight, a more true weight, I kind of feel like. But that's just me.
So you were questioning even Hayes and Kuykendall. How could my mom do this? You don't have an answer to that, do you? Because how much does your mother weigh?
Maybe between 100 and 120 pounds, or I don't know how much he weighs now. I mean, but at the time, maybe somewhere between that. I don't know.
She's a little lady.
Never asked her.
How tall is your mama? She's a little lady.
5'5".
Okay. You told the jury yesterday.
Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me because I simply did not know where to get started. I didn't know how to find my person. I did not know where.
That when you left that evening, I mean, there was a lot of things that maybe you even blacked out on that day. It was a long day. I understand that. But you told the jury yesterday that as you were leaving, you couldn't even get a tank of gas because your checking account had been bounced.
Not well. I can't remember if it was bounced or if it was like a security holder. I went. It's a please see cashier, and I looked. I don't remember exactly what, but yeah, I think I told. I wasn't able to use it. Let's just put it that way. And I didn't have a credit card on me.
Why did you? As time went on, you became the temporary executor of the estate, and you lost it. Why did you lose that? Why was that taken from you?
I don't think it was necessarily. From what I remember, I don't think it was taken. It was just kind of agreed upon because obviously my sister Amanda and my mother were very much opposed to that of me, and so she had an attorney.
Wasn't it?
But I don't remember if it was taken from me or if we just all kind of agreed, like, okay, let's just do.
Did Barry Bishop or Jeff Rustbridge ever tell you it was because of your inability to manage the assets of the estate?
Nobody ever told me
that you were losing assets of the estate.
No, Barry Bishop and Jeff Rustbridge. I mean, we had a conversation that basically said, well, your mother is accusing you of doing these things, and I said, I have no access to the funds of the estate. It's all frozen.
Your Honor, if I may have one brief moment. Yesterday, you said something that struck me, and I think it's important that I get your words right. You said something to the effect, Ms. Frankish asked you a question about the finances and your father passing. And I believe you said his kids would financially gain if he died.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of fact. If your parents pass away, the money, like I have a will too, I have if something was to happen to me, my kids would, get what I have. I have life insurance, but both of my daughters' names on it.
I believe you said that they would be you would be better off financially.
I don't remember saying that,
but you would be financially better off.
If what?
If you were to get the estate in this case, because it's still held up,
like
correct?
Right now?
Like nothing, nothing's been able to access because, of course, this case is going on.
Yeah. No, I mean, nothing's been accessed at all.
Right.
So, I mean, it's.
So you would financially benefit if your mother is convicted of murder.
I guess you could say that.
Nothing.
He admits, on day 3. He admits on day 3 that Gary's children would benefit the most from his death. And Chris struggles to admit on the stand that yes, he will be better off once this trial is over with his mom being convicted of murder. Like, dude, it is a fact that as soon as this trial is over, sorry, I keep coughing. But once this trial is over, then you are set to gain the most financially with your siblings if your mother is convicted of murder. Because if you're convicted of murder or your brother's convicted of murder, that is one less of you guys to potentially benefit. And I will almost guarantee that if we find out that Scott actually committed the murder, I will almost guarantee that it will be found out that Chris knew something about this murder. I'm not going to say that he did it because, again, so far, none of the evidence really shows any of that. But I will say that he probably knows something. And he knows that if it comes out that he was an accomplice in any way, shape, or form, or didn't rat out his brother knowing that this was going to happen, that he will also lose his portion of this life insurance money. And so I feel like he is very much relieved that this is his mom on trial and not his brother.
Hi, Ms. Frazier.
I want to talk about your mom a little bit. When you guys would have family gatherings, where would you find your mom? What would she be doing for the family?
She was usually in the kitchen.
Was that kind of like her domain? She liked to cook?
Yeah, I mean, she was always cooking at family gatherings. That was.
Would she cook for your dad too?
Oh yeah.
Mr. Weaver brought up guns quite a bit. Do you know anything about guns?
A little bit. You know, I had a couple guns I bought in 2020 and 2021. I've gotten to the hobby of shooting. You know, I'd go to the shooting range, and I had a buddy who managed the shooting, I think it's the shooting alley or Quick Shot in Buckhead, so he wouldn't charge me he'd just let me come, so, yeah.
Do you know enough to know the difference between a revolver and like a semi-automatic pistol?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever know anybody in your family? Now, when I asked you this question, we already know about the 32, the older one in the barn. Did you know about that one?
Yeah.
Whose was that?
That was my grandfather's.
Okay. And did he have other kinds of pistols?
Yeah. Yes.
What did he have? Do you know?
I just remember him, because I spent a lot of time up in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Okay, so when he would close the hardware store, he armed himself, and it was almost like a shoulder. I don't know what the word is. Forgive me, but it's like a holster where you kind of put it around your arm, not around your waist, but kind of like, I don't know what that's called.
Like a backstrap type.
Right, and he had a revolver.
But you didn't know what kind.
I didn't know what kind. No.
When Scott's guns got stolen, around what year was that?
He would have just been back. If you can give me just a second to think about it.
Before 2012?
I would say probably so. Yeah.
Before 2016?
Yeah, I mean, because he was at Benning when he got back from Iraq. Like he was stationed there. You know, he lived in an apartment there.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
No objection.
Chris, I just want you to look at this and read it to yourself before I ask you some questions.
What kind of pistol?
Okay, to yourself.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Does that appear to be a text message between you and your brother Scott?
Yes.
State moves to enter into evidence C. Farris 1.
No objection.
If you could, well, I'm going to come back up to you because I don't have another copy of this. If you could read this to the jury for me and read the date and time.
On 7/10/2016 at 11:53 a.m., it looks like I texted my brother, "What kind of pistol do you have?" question mark. On 7/10/2016 at 12 p.m., he texted me, "I don't have one." Or don't have one. There's no I. It's just don't have one.
Thank you. Chris, do you recall ever seeing a revolver in any of the homes, in your Alpharetta home or the farm?
Yeah. I saw a revolver other than the 32 at my parents' house in Alpharetta, the Hampton Hall house, Ridgehaven Run, the house they lived in before the farm.
And where did you see that?
It was on the counter in the kitchen.
Do you know why it wasn't there?
I don't know why. I had come over and it was sitting there, and I grabbed it and I.
Now, before he starts talking about the gun, I want to point out for you guys to pay attention to each child's description of the gun. Because if I remember correctly, all three descriptions of the gun are different. And if I remember correctly, all three children take a little bit from each image and slightly changes either like the color or something. Like in one of them, I think they said it was silver with a wood finish handle. Sorry. And another one, I think that they said it was like darker. Um, there was just three separate descriptions based on the three images that they showed. But that is, I'm going to end up, what I'm doing is I'm going to write it down once I hear it. And I'm going to write which child wrote it just so that I'm positive too. But I'm pretty sure that all three had a different description of the gun.
Actually, because it's just sitting out, and I grabbed it and I put it on top of the fridge. And it was like a longer bird basket was up there, and I put it up there. Yeah.
And was that did you say what kind of gun that was?
It was a revolver.
And have you ever seen it since then?
No, sir. No, ma'am. Sorry, me.
That's okay. Did you ever ask either of your parents about it?
I don't remember.
You mentioned that the kids could possibly gain if your dad passed away. Scott was living at the farm, and your dad was funding his life. Is that true?
Sure, yeah.
When your dad passed, who did the farm go to?
I am a better marketer. With SEMrush AI, I can make informed marketing decisions. I can forecast my
So if your dad had passed, Scott would essentially be homeless.
Yes.
And your mom was the beneficiary of your dad's 401k?
Correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Very briefly. Oh, as to the gun back at the Hampton Hall house, what did it look like?
I remember it being like, kind of like a shiny metallic. You know, like the metal of the gun? It was kind of like shiny. And I almost remember it having like a, almost like an ivory handle to it.
Old gun?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a gun history
Not a gun
person.
guy.
Not a gun history person. You know, I know some stuff, but yeah.
Long nose or short nose?
Short nose.
Okay. And you know you've never told anybody in any of your interviews this before, right?
I don't know that.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge. Wait, hold on. Mr. Ray says I got something else. That's all I have.
Anything else?
No, Judge.
I can step down.
Thanks.
We got a 20-minute witness.
We do.
Okay, let's bring them all in.
You know me.
State House formerly Ferris.
Hey, y'all. Stand up the stretch.
It's already
Unless you want to do your direct, and then you can come back and cross over.
Judge, Mr. Weaver has informed me she may be longer than I'm anticipating.
We'll get through your direct, and then
Okay.
we can break.
And that's fine. I just don't want to hold you guys up to eat.
Oh, ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Okay, you can have a seat. And if you could, please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name for the court.
My name is Jenna Pawlowski, Jenna. Last name Pawlowski.
Thank you. And are you formerly Jenna Farris?
Correct.
Okay. Were you married to Chris Farris for a period of time?
That is correct.
How long?
About 6 years, almost 6 years. We're together for 13 years total.
Together for 13 total? Mm-hmm. And what years were you married?
2015, separated. 2021 in April, and finalized divorce December 2021.
If you could, you have a very soft voice. If you could please speak up just a little bit so
Yes.
all of the jurors can hear you. Okay. So you were married to Chris when his father was murdered. Is that
Correct.
Okay. What I want to talk about is we have a calendar up there. It's essentially that week, that first week in July. And you and I have spoken briefly before today, right? Okay. Okay. So, do you remember what you did on Monday, July 2nd of 2018?
Monday, I believe I was at work. Yeah.
Where did you work at the time?
Cooper Carey, architecture firm.
And did you have normal work hours?
8:30 to 5:30. It's downtown Atlanta.
And did the girls plan to come into town, Ella and Addison?
Yes.
Okay, and did you have a good relationship with them?
Yes.
What day were they planning to come into town?
I don't remember the day
Okay.
exactly. I had just started that job about a year prior, so I remember working a lot that week and having the 4th as a holiday.
Okay.
But I do not remember what day exactly they were coming in.
So if the day of the 4th was the day of the pool party, the day before that would be the 3rd.
Right.
Were they there on the 3rd?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember talking to law enforcement at any point during the investigation of this case?
Only on the phone. Maybe within that week. On that weekend, that Saturday, I think, I was with my friend Carrie and her 2 nieces that were around the same age as Ella and Addie, and we had them at the pool, and I got a call from someone about the case, and they questioned me about Chris's whereabouts and where we had dinner, and that was the last time I heard anything.
Okay. During that interview, would you say your memory would have been better of that week?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if the girls were there on the 3rd, and you said that they were there on the 3rd in that interview, would that be accurate?
Yes, definitely.
So let's go into the night of the 3rd, the evening of the 3rd. Did you work on the 3rd?
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
So after work, when you came home, do you remember seeing Ella or Addison at your condo with Chris?
I believe yes, I remember seeing them. I know Ella wanted to go up to the farm, and I can't remember if she was already there or not. But I believe Addie, Chris, and I got dinner that night.
Do you know where you got dinner? You can just name a city if you don't.
It was around our condo in Buckhead where we lived. It was Asian. I don't know if it was sushi or some kind of Asian food, I think. I can't remember.
How long was your dinner that night?
Typical, maybe an hour or so. We didn't get any alcohol. It was one of those places I think you order and just sit down, or it's pretty in and out, quick.
Okay.
So,
what did you do after dinner?
as far as I can remember, from 6 years ago, I went home, back to the condo.
Okay. Do you remember if you went home alone and Chris and Addison went to go do something, or did you go do something with them after dinner? Maybe get ice cream?
I don't remember.
Okay. But that night, did you all stay at the condo?
Yes.
The 3 of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it typical for Addison to sleep with you when she came to stay?
Yes.
Okay, why is that?
We just had a king-size bed, and I don't know, she just liked sleeping next to me.
Where would Chris sleep?
In the other bedroom.
In the other bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day was the 4th of July. Peachtree Road Race was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get up and go watch the Peachtree Road Race?
Yes, I remember waking up. It was maybe 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that time, maybe around 8. And we walked up, because we lived in Buckhead, so we lived off Peachtree. So we walked up and watched the race go by, handed out waters and drinks, and watched everyone.
Who's we?
Addison and I and Chris was kind of, I can't remember exactly, but I don't think he walked up with us at first, but he was there.
He was there, and maybe you guys met him there.
Right.
So we're on the 4th, the morning of the 4th. After the Peachtree Road Race, do you remember what you guys did?
No, I really don't. I want to say we went to the pool. Other than that, there's really nothing that sticks out was any different than any other 4th of July.
Sure. When you were at the pool, was it you, Chris, and Addison?
Yes.
Did Chris and Addison leave at any point?
I really don't remember.
Do you remember you and I talking about those days?
Yes.
On Zoom? We met.
Yes,
we
yes.
chatted on Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. And did I tell you what to say or anything? How to answer questions?
No.
Okay.
No.
And we talked about in 2018 on the 4th of July, Chris taking Addison to the farm.
Right.
Would that sound?
Yes, because Ella was there and she wanted to go up there too.
Ella was up north at the farm.
Somewhere up there.
Somewhere. Okay, and that's okay that you don't remember all these details.
Yeah,
So, do you remember, was it afternoon, evening, nighttime when Chris and Addison went up to the farm?
I believe late afternoon, possibly into the evening.
How long were they gone?
Not long, it was maybe a 45, 50-minute drive from Buckhead up there. So about whatever, double that. I would imagine he dropped her off and said hi to someone, or he came right back.
Chris came back?
Yes.
Was Addison with him?
No.
So then what did you and Chris do when he came back?
We hung out with our neighbors where we lived and just shot off some fireworks. They shot off some fireworks in the parking lot. That was it. Stayed around our condo.
Did Chris ever leave again that night?
On the 4th?
Yes.
No.
Did he leave the house the night of the 3rd?
To drop Addison off?
After dinner, did he ever leave again?
Not that I knew or heard or, no.
So on the 4th, you guys just went to bed?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then, did you have to work the next day on the 5th?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember that.
So, what happened on the 5th that stands out in your mind? Did you get a phone call?
Yes. So I was at work, and it was about 12:30, give or take. And Chris called me, and all he said was, "You have to come to the farm right now and get the girls."
And what did you do?
I said, "Is everything okay?" And all he did was repeat the exact same sentence. And I said, which was, "You have to come to the farm and get the girls." And so I left. I told my boss at the time I had an emergency. I have to go. So drove up there, was extremely worried and crying, and called my mom and told her, wasn't sure what was going on. And I got a text message that said, "My dad is gone." And
From who?
From Chris, as I was exiting off 400, and I just started crying. And I got to the farm, and there were tons of people everywhere. And my only focus, I was driving my Camry, my only focus was just to protect Ella and Addie and make sure Chris was okay. And I had no idea what was going on. I don't think he knew either. He was visibly...
On Miro, teams work faster on the new Innovation Workspace. Innovation belongs on Miro.
Shaking. He was so distraught.
Chris.
His voice was shaking. He was just in shock, I could tell. In complete and utter shock. I had no idea what had happened. So all I did, I took the girls, and Ella and Addie were sitting there Addie was very quiet. She didn't have her phone with her. Ella kept asking, "What's going on? What happened? Why won't anyone tell me what happened?" And then that's when Kendall Lee called me, the girl's mother, and talked on the phone with Ella, and explained. She wasn't on speaker, but I still heard her. Said, "Ella, Big Daddy's no longer with us." And Ella sat there, and at this time we had kind of pulled over off the driveway, and Ella just was on the phone, said, "Okay." And after that, I really don't remember what we talked about, but I took them back to Buckhead, to our condo. And from that day forward, when they were here, I just wanted them to have a normal, be kids. And we took them to Main Event, we took them to just things like that, Cheesecake Factory, and I just wanted them to get away from all of that and not have to worry about that and enjoy their summer. And unfortunately, they couldn't really be with their dad because he was having to deal with all of this. So,
did you also bring Cameron back with you?
Yes, yeah, she came. She came with us too. Mm-hmm.
So after that, did you see Melody again?
Yes.
When?
I'm trying to remember. She was in our condo unit in the hallway. I don't remember why or which day, but she gave me a hug and was hugging the girls, and that's really all I can remember. I don't know why, the circumstances, who was doing what.
Sure. Did she say anything to you that stood out that time?
She said, "I can't believe this is happening to our family." And it was just a very weird feeling. Ever since I picked the girls up and had been, I don't know, it was just a weird feeling. It's just something did not sit right overall, just with everything.
Did Melody ever confront you and Chris about money, owing her money?
Yes. So after everything not calmed down, but I think about a couple weeks later, she started text messaging me about bills that Gary had paid for, like our Comcast bill at the time. Did I know about them? And I said no. That was basically,
Okay.
And it was things that she was saying, I can tell you more, I can show you more, and show you what's going on, or something like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was things like that that I just wanted to avoid and get away from. I just did not want to be involved unless I needed to.
When you and I met, you had some information that you thought people needed to know, but you didn't get the opportunity to say back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay. So I sort of just asked you, okay, what is that information? So at any point, well, let me ask you this. In the weekend prior to the first week of July, so June, was it Gary's birthday?
We were celebrating his birthday and Father's Day, I think, all kind of on that, whatever day we were there, Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, prior to?
Yeah. It was late June.
Late June. And at that gathering, I will say, did you and Melody hang out with each other and converse?
Not specifically to be alone, but we were, I don't remember where, I think we were walking outside in the basement, towards the basement, the double doors out there. So I think, I want to say there was something in the kitchen that maybe was redone or remodeled, or there was something new down there that I was looking at, or she wanted me to look at, I think. I can't remember why, but.
And what stood out to you about that encounter?
Well, I walked down there and the whatever credenza, I don't remember exactly where, but she opened the drawer and she said, "This is my granddaddy's gun." And I said, "A revolver." And I said, I don't even remember what I said because it was so, I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just kept moving on. So.
And when we met, I showed you a couple of photos. What room in the house was this?
This was the first room when you walk down to the basement.
And when we met, I showed you a couple of photos so you could identify. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Okay.
I'm showing you states Thrasher 45 and defense exhibit Thrasher D1. Are these similar to the images that I had showed you?
Yes.
Okay. And is that piece of furniture in either of these photos?
Yes.
Which photo?
I want to say this first one, the kitchen to the left.
Is that Thrasher 45?
Yes, Thrasher 45.
Publish that one real quick so you can.
Okay.
Okay. Before we even let them talk, in case you haven't been following the chat, I just want to catch up on a little bit of what I've been saying. So, I want to know how Jenna was able to convince people that she can't remember where which kid was where. There we go. Sorry. Ella was not up at the farm, like Jenna claims. Ella had gone to Chris's friend's house. I think yesterday we covered that it was like Todd, Tom, something like that. But this friend had a daughter that was roughly Ella's age named Emma. And that was like, I think Chris said like a 30-minute drive from where they were at the condo. And then Chris said that his mom's house was like another 30 to 45-minute drive, but in a different direction. He stated that him and Addison went out to the farm on the 3rd to go see the ducks. And then it was Addison on July the 4th who went to stay with Grandma and Big Daddy at the farm. She was accompanied with Cameron at the farm. It was not Ella and Addison that stayed. They expect you to believe that she can't remember these big details, but she can remember being shown the gun by Melody Farris only 6 years later, though, right before the trial. I'm sorry, I don't freaking buy it. Now I can understand, like, you know, her getting granddad and great granddad kind of mixed up. But I feel like if you're going with ballistics, that there would be a significant difference in the ballistics of the different generations of gun. I know that for my Smith & Wesson 38 Special Airweight, that it has significantly different ballistics from other generations. But I don't know if that is for all guns or just that particular manufacturer. I'm going to assume it's for all guns, though, especially considering each gun has its own like unique ballistics anyway. Like as far as the striations and everything on the bullets go. I do know some about ballistics, not a whole lot though. But it is definitely something that I find fascinating. But again, I feel like if you suspect that it's one or the other generation, that you would find a similar gun to see, can you produce a similar striation pattern, or, you know, does the firing pin hit in the same spot? Or I'm sure that there's something that can be matched up from one gun to the next, of like a particular model or brand. This way you can kind of tell, like, you know, one generation from another. But I wanted to get into that just a little bit because, again, I feel that it is one of those things that really can show how different perspective is, because she remembers things differently than Chris. But I also feel to some extent that if you're going to not be able to corroborate the major details of the case, then you can't sit here and expect people to believe that you remember a whole incident with a gun, what a gun looks like, only 6 years later, though.
This is the photo you identified?
Yes.
Okay, and which piece of furniture did Melody open to show you the gun?
The wooden cabinet on the left.
Do you know much about guns?
No.
Do you know was it a long gun, short?
Shorter.
What did it look like?
It was kind of curved.
Sure. What was the color?
I want to say like a silver color. I don't remember.
Do you know the difference between a semi-automatic pistol, like what police carry, versus like a cowboy gun?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Which one did it look like?
Like the cowboy one.
The cowboy one?
Mm-hmm.
And when we met, did I show you 3 different photos of a cowboy gun?
Yes.
3 different versions? Mm-hmm. And did you identify one that it may have looked like?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, state moves to admit J. Farris 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
John, I'm going to show you.
Wouldn't go out. But
Right.
We'll deal with that later. All right.
One of them is.
We'll deal with
Yes.
that later.
Yes. That is fine. Okay. This is one that I showed you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to keep them all up here. And this is the other one. And then the third. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can get that third one up here. Okay. And you identified one when we met. Oops. Here we go. Out of 1, 2, and 3, which one did it look like?
I really don't remember which one.
So when we met, you had sort of mentioned it looked like J. Farris 2. Would that be accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Again, do you know much about guns?
I really don't.
Do all revolvers may look the same to you?
I didn't even get a great look, and correct, yes. I really have not ever handled any or been around them, ever.
Had you ever seen this gun before?
No.
Did you ever see it again?
No.
And law enforcement, you didn't get the opportunity to tell law enforcement about this. Is that fair?
No. And I was never contacted.
Was the family, did you and Chris have conversations about talking to the police or not talking to the police or anything like that?
It was just mainly him keeping in touch with the detective, and once he was off the phone, he would just update me on what the news story, or not news story, but what happened,
Sure.
what was going on.
Okay, so J. Farris 2 is the gun that she pointed out. Now, from the looks of the picture, it is a darker silver than the other two. Potentially one of the like black colored ones. It had, if I remember correctly, I'm gonna end up after the live going back and re-looking at that part. But if I remember correctly, it had the like medium length nose, not quite as long as J. Farris 1, but not as short as the snub nose. And that is excessively different than Chris's shiny metallic silver and short nose. Right? And I wrote Chris's down as well. Now both of them say that it is curved. And she even says that it was curved, shorter, silver, and cowboy style. Then the photo reference, though, was a dark silver with a brown handle and a longer nose. How the hell can you rely on this testimony when she's already given you 2 different examples of 2 guns? And I'm sorry, I have only ever owned 1 gun. Now, granted, I've handled a few, but I haven't touched a gun since I was 22. I am now well into my 30s, and I still can tell you that there are differences between these guns. I can tell you major differences between these guns. I was telling you major differences between these guns when I told you that this testimony was going to be coming up. Like, and I have some knowledge of guns. Not a lot of knowledge, though. Jenna and I, at this rate, for how long it's been since I've touched a gun, are probably back on the same intellectual level about guns. And I can tell you that there is a significant difference between curved, shorter silver and cowboy versus darker silver, almost black, a brown handle, and a medium-sized nose. And there is also a significant difference between shiny metallic, short nose, and curved. Chris even said it was lighter. So right there we have 3 new stories about this gun, 3 new images about this gun, and just wait until we get into what Scott says the gun looked like.
Going to happen, what the next steps were, but there wasn't anything that we discussed that wasn't already out there.
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, looks like a good time to break for lunch. Let's go for... Yeah, I'll be back at 20 after so we can be up and running by 1:30. All right?
All right, so I have not stayed on quite as long as I usually do, but at lunch I am going to call it for the night. I will attempt to be on Thursday. I'm going to attempt it. I'm not going to promise anything though, but I will attempt to be on at least for a little bit on Thursday. Yes, so Rusty Barton's gun is supposedly missing. That came from Rusty Barton and Martha Barton. We are then missing the 38 special that was stolen. We are also then missing the Magnum 357, if I remember correctly. And the only one that was found, if I remember correctly, was the 32. So we are at this point missing 3 guns between 2 different households. And I think it's kind of funny that between Chris, Jenna, Scott, that we have 3 different versions of what this gun looks like. Not a single one of them is capable of keeping the same story. I knew that this was the case, and I thought that it was funny. But yes. So at this rate, I don't know. And Rusty hasn't, if I remember correctly per his testimony, Rusty has not found his gun that is missing either. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. I would be on tomorrow, except for tomorrow is family night and the boys are staying over. So we will be probably at the indoor pool near us or playing board games tomorrow. But I will definitely try to be on Thursday. If I am on Thursday, just so you guys are aware, it is probably going to be a stream that is earlier in the day. I'm going to say probably around like 11 or noon. Just so that I can hop off and be done in enough time to take my husband to work so that I can get the kids from after school on Thursday. And then I will attempt to be on Saturday, but no promises there either. You most likely will not get me again for sure until Sunday. Thank you so much, you guys. I am going to try, just so we are clear, I am making this known so you guys can kick me in the butt if I need it. I am going to try to go live every Sunday for the rest of December. My husband works 12 hours every Sunday for the rest of December. So I will have nothing better to do in my afternoons, early evenings. And if I come on at a reasonable time, then I can be off in enough time to get some rest before partial on Monday. And so, yes, I feel like Sunday is a very good time for me to be able to come live for sure. As of right now, the rest of the days are kind of up in the air depending on how I feel. Today I felt kind of good after partial, so yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Much love. Oh, also, don't forget, in the description is now an affiliate link for Streamlabs. If you stream on your own and you enjoy it, consider Streamlabs. You can customize your audio, you can customize your scenes, your sources. They have a ton of apps and widgets. They have their own Streambot, which I tend to like. Their CloudBot for Streamlabs a lot better sometimes than I like Nightbot. At times it's not as sensitive, sometimes it's a little more sensitive, but it's also a little easier to customize and play with. You can also make clips and shorts and things like that all within Streamlabs. You also get really neat themes. I am kind of sort of using a theme that I got with Streamlabs for some of my notifications. The background that I have on my live scene, this one is one that I made myself. So yes. I hope everybody has a great rest of your night. I will see everybody soon, and I hope you enjoy so far your Wednesday and Thursday.